All right, ladies, I'm going to do this again. The first version that I did ended up in the wrong place, and I do apologize for that. This time when I do it, I'm going to include, or I have included, the soulmate client persona, which is a worksheet that we are working on currently in BLPS summer cohort. The fall cohort, this is going to actually be in the workbook. And the summer cohort and the fall cohort, all the cohorts are going to have the LinkedIn edition that specifically helps them on how to find clients in LinkedIn. All right, so though the title of the program is Discover Your Target Audience, this says soulmate client, and they're different. Your target audience is a group of people that you want to serve. Okay, your soulmate client is the one person in that group of people that you want to serve the most. So it's like a shot group. Okay, and you're firing and you're trying to get to your soulmate client who's right in the middle. That's the person you're going to really talk to, but you keep hitting all these other areas out here. Because you're learning how to fire. So you're hitting all these other areas out here, okay? But you're trying to get to your soulmate client in the middle. Everybody on the outskirts of your soulmate client are your target audience, okay? So though you're reaching for your soulmate client, you might end up serving somebody in the target audience. And that's okay. So when you build your target audience, it's going to be a group of people. And you usually work on a 10-year range in age. So it might be women who are 35 to 45 years old, who, might be African American or women of color. They have kids. They are married. They have some type of college or graduate degree. And they used to work in the tech industry, and now they are coaches. And then the next step is to, out of that target audience, you're going to narrow it down to one person you're going to talk to. Your soulmate client is the one person you're going to talk to in all of your advertising, all of your content, and everything. Okay? When you talk to this one person right there in the middle in your advertising, guess what? All of these other people are going to hear, and there's going to be something that you say to this one person. Sorry, my hand-eye coordination's not right. To this one person that's going to draw them in and listen more. Okay? So we're going to use the soulmate client persona to narrow down our soulmate client and talk to them, so that we understand that we're going to reach our target audience, okay? And so to make the adjustments between your soulmate client and your target audience, you're just going to make the scope wider. So instead of having one soul age for one soul person, you're going to have a 10-year age group. Instead of having somebody with a master's degree, you're going to have anybody with a college degree or higher. And so on and so forth, okay? So the trick is to find or to talk to yourself before the transformation, okay? So I'm going to show you on another piece of paper. And the reason you want to talk to yourself before the transformation is because that is the fastest way to figure out who your soulmate client is. All right? Because you've already gone through the journey of getting transformed. And they want to be where you are right now. But they want to get there faster. You took the long way to get there, and they want to get there faster, which is why you're building your signature program, to help them get to where you are faster. So instead of them making a time investment to get there as long as you did, they're going to make a financial investment through you so they can get there faster. This right here is the transformation. And you are in the now space because you were transformed. And they are way over here in a place where they're not transformed. This is you then. So who you were is your soulmate client. Make sense? Who you were is your soulmate client. And you are going to map out the journey for them to get to transformation where you are now. That's where they want to be. They want to be where you are now. So what you're going to do is you are going to, your former self before the transformation, when you were a hot mess, that is your soulmate client, and that's what you're going to note here. Now you're going to need to do more research because we never know each other as much as we think we know each other, ourselves. We never know ourselves as much as we think we do. So this is where prayer comes in. This is where research of other people who are like us come in. This is where you start asking friends and family members, people who work with you. This is where all that stuff comes in. Because we never really know ourselves as much as we think we do. We don't have that outside perspective like other people who are not us have. Okay? And in your research, you're going to be able to fine tune more of the answers. This is 7 pages long. You need to know a lot about your soulmate client. And then again, your soulmate client is the microscopic look of who your target audience is. Okay? So things you're going to name your avatar. What is her name? What is her gender? What is her sexual orientation, her ethnicity, her age, her marital status? Do not say that your soulmate client is between the ages of 35 and 45. Nobody is between the ages of 35 and 45. They're either 35, 36, 37, blah, 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 or, you know, they're one single age. They're 42 years old. They're 40 years old. You know what I'm saying? They're one age that happens to fall in between those ranges. Those ranges will represent the target audience, and that one soul age will represent your soulmate client. Okay? Marital status, number of children, combined household income, educational accomplishments, and so on and so forth. Now let me give you a tip. Do not start talking to your target audience about something you know not of. If you've never had kids, don't talk to your target audience about kids. If you're not a veteran, or you don't have some type of personal link to veterans, or some type of experience intimately with veterans, like you've worked with them for 2 decades or something, don't talk to them about veteran matters. Because you don't understand what you're talking about. So, for instance, if you were single, you've never been married, talking to a married woman is it's a different situation. Okay? And yes, it does matter. That certificate changes things. So if I were you, I would choose a target audience or a soulmate client who was in the same spot that I was in. So when I have these conversations with her, I know what I'm talking about. I can empathize for her. She doesn't feel judged. You can authentically validate her problem and acknowledge it, or acknowledge her problem and validate it and normalize it. But you can't do that effectively, authentically, genuinely, if you don't know where she's at. You know, if you don't know where her headspace is at, if you don't know what she's really going through, which is the wonderful thing about coaching. So if you go to coaching school, they'll tell you can coach anybody. But what makes a great coach is one who's walked the path that you've walked, because they can empathize on a whole nother level about what you're going through. Okay. So In the persona, there's some other things you need to understand. Like, what are their buying decisions? Now, if you're like, well, I'm just going to go straight for $1 million people, I'm going to go straight for the, the super affluent. If you are not super affluent, you got a lot of research to do, because their mindset about money is totally different than the middle class mindset. It's totally different. They don't have a problem with money. They're not thinking about money. So they make their decisions based off of something different altogether. Seriously. And when it's time for them to get resources, they don't generally look up a resource. They ask a friend. So their mindset is different. So before you jump to like a mindset of someone you don't really understand because the money looks good, you can cause yourself more harm than good. Remember, if you have a product or service that is valuable to your target audience, to your soulmate client, they will pay what you ask to fix it. They will pay. They will find a way. And you will meet them halfway to find that way by offering them payment plans and consumer credit and all that wonderful stuff. So don't worry about like, oh, they're not going to be able to afford it. Listen, they will find a way. Okay? That's a mindset thing. You want to understand the type of people they enjoy spending time with and why. How many close friends do they have and want? How do they handle disagreements? Why do they handle it that way? What qualities do they dislike in people? What qualities attract them? You want to really get deep inside your psyche and understand. Does this mean you not make your product or service until after you have all the answers of the world? Absolutely not. That doesn't mean that at all. Because to tell the truth, market research is an ongoing thing. You're constantly doing market research. So saying I'm going to wait until I got all the answers is just not realistic. Get as many answers as you can now, and along the way, do more research. Fine tune your process. Okay? Don't not offer them a product or service. Just get as close as you can. And as you get to know them, as you do interviews, as you have questionnaires and quizzes and all that stuff, in surveys, fine tune it. Get closer, get closer, get closer. And then one day you'll be at the point where you can talk to them very clearly about what they're feeling, and they'll feel like you're talking directly to them, and they'll pay almost anything to get your services. Now listen, you do need to do some market research before you create your program. You do need to do some market research before you create your program, so that you understand what their real problem is, not what the problem they keep saying it is. Because as we know as coaches, a lot of people will say the surface problem, and it is really much deeper. It's much lower. And you have to drill down and understand your client better. Okay? When you do your market research, you can look anywhere. You can look on, look up resources with creditable publications on Google, Bing, Yahoo. You can go on social media. Go in social media groups. They're a hotbed of, there are like tons of groups with concentrated target audience. Be available to help them with their problems. Answer questions for them. Be the fly on the wall if you have to, and listen to what's being said. If you're in the group with your target audience and all they're doing is complaining, guess what? You're in the right group, because that's the group that you can help the most. Okay? The goal is to know your target audience so much that if somebody says, what is your soulmate client doing right this moment, you can tell them. somebody asked me what my soulmate client is doing right now, I would be like, okay, at 1:30 in the afternoon, she's probably coming back from lunch. She's not really happy to be coming back from lunch. She's ready to go out on her own. She does a good job at work, but her mind is distracted on building a business that she controls. She wants autonomy in her decision making. She wants autonomy in her time. She wants financial freedom. She wants to use all of the knowledge and skills that she's learned to the maximum. And she feels like in her current employment, in her current job situation, and probably for a lot of jobs before that, she felt underutilized and underpaid, misunderstood and unheard. And she wants to start her business yesterday, but is willing and able to go through the next 6 months to create a solid business foundation that will yield her profits. She understands there is no quick fix to what she wants. She's paid money to go to different seminars and freemiums and different smaller programs. She might have even paid money for another program and didn't get the help she needed, so she's a little shy. But at the end of the day, she wants to help her people not experience what she experienced. She wants to help them at a high level. She wants to get paid well for it. She wants to be there to take care of God's will. If you can't say all of that about your target audience at this very moment, somebody asks you, what exactly is your target audience doing at this moment? You don't know enough about them, but you will get there. If you need help narrowing down your target audience, let me know. I'm going to put a link to a class that I offer about how to narrow down your target audience in the link below. Talk to you later. Bye.